We do apologize for the break in transmission. So I was asking our guest here, once the state successfully acquires this ring fence, who will manage it? Will it be run by newly formed, state-owned enterprise, or will it be fully concessioned to a private player?
Yeah, what happened is that you should know that the state rightly negotiated to acquire about 60% of the assets, all right, situated at Umuahia, Ikuano, and Abia North, all right, so be able to service or supply power to over 8 local governments area that have been, under-serviced, in the recent time. And so this is to have a synergy, synchronized cooperation with that's geometric that have been supplying at Umuahia, Aba area. All right, so geometric have an excess capacity of over 188 megawatts, and so it can serve these 8 local government areas remaining. All right, so what Abia local governments what Abia State government is doing currently is in line with the decentralization of power. That was the act that was being established. That was back then, 20th of July, 2022, by the National Assembly. Okay, that's exactly what the state governor is doing currently. But the truth is this: we expect that there should be a PPP arrangement, that is a public-private partnership arrangement. Because the truth is that government are not usually, in this side of the world, in fact, any other part of the world, government is not usually very good in business, all right? Especially when it comes to, profit-making venture. Government is not usually that so good in doing that. So in every other part of the world where things are working fine, it's always, private enterprises taking over these kind of facilities, to manage them. So we want to see where Abia State, acquires, but being managed by perhaps a second party or a third party so far. Okay, so that the profitability of the investment will be achieved. Because I know that whomsoever that invest money or invest any huge amount of that capacity, in any asset, it's always expecting to have some returns on investment, and we don't want the capacity. Want the investment to remain redundant, non-profitable. So we want to see, and we believe that Abia State Governor, though he is a man coming from the banking sector, so he's a good businessman. So we want to see him, doing wonderfully well in the area of building a partnership with capacity non-individuals or organizations that will run the business indeed for Abia State people.
Oh, okay. So Abia is like the heartbeat of Abia State, right? And is there a technical risk that extending this grid to Umuahia might dilute or compromise the power quality currently being supplied to Aba manufacturers?
What happened is that there will be, I believe that there must have been a discussion so far to, allay this kind of unforeseen circumstances to the, with geometric management. All right. Perhaps geometric should, at this point, or should before now even, have started building or, maximizing or building up further capacity to ensure that they are being able to accommodate whatever loads that comes in, thereafter the acquisition of EEDC takes place. Okay, so, and again, there is always a room and a call for further licenses to be issued to other intending organizations, other intending investors in the area of generation of power in Nigeria, in Southeast, in Abia State, in Enugu State. We should generate more. We have enormous need for power, and it has been underserved, it has been underprovided. And so I want to thank Alex Otti as well at this point, for working towards having power independence, in Abia State. He's been working so frantically, to ensure that such is being done. I want to see more being done as well. I want to see it being replicated in every other part of Southeast, in Enugu State, Imo State, Anambra State, Ebonyi State. We want to see that happening in those areas. Southeast people are business people. So the risk is only if not well thought about, if not well, prepared for. But I want to believe that while discussing the area of acquiring the assets, with the EEDC, then the area of, improving in the capacity now in existence with that of geometric management, I believe that such must have been in place as well.
Okay, so let's talk about, the consumer. For the average business owner or resident in Umuahia, what will the transition mean for, their electricity tariffs? Will they pay a minimum or a premium for this promised steady power?
Nigerians, Igbos, Enugu people, Abia people, Igbo people, we are not quite fighting yet in our tariff. What we are crying about, crying against, is that we are paying without having the light. We are paying estimations. And so give us the light, give us meter that determines usage. All right? And so, moreover, give us steady supply. We are enterprising people. All right? So give us steady supply. We are entrepreneurs. And so if you give us steady supply, we'll be able to go into our manufacturing. We'll be able to go into our processing. We'll be able to go into our storage. All right? And so it's going to help us to weigh into a lot of value chains in the area of our economy and do very beautifully well. The truth is that if you are investing any money in electricity and that money is, the investment you are making in there is yielding, why wouldn't you pay? We're not running away from paying. We're only talking about give us that steady supply so that I don't need to come to Enugu metropolis before I will find a place to sit down and do business and make money. How many persons will be accommodated in Enugu metropolis? So that I can be at my area in Udi and not struggle to get to Enugu metropolis. And power supply will be there. Because most of the time, one of the major differences between those rural areas and that of the major cities is simply availability of hospitals, water supply, electricity supply, schools, and road network, water. When you have all these things being, extended to these areas, then you discover that the people wouldn't even bother coming over to the city areas because everywhere must have been urbanized. And so we want to see that happening. And once it happens, businesses can thrive from anywhere. That is exactly what is happening out there, even in India. India, you don't see people struggling to come over to their capital city. You see them in their various ancestral homes, staying back because there is steady supply of light. And so they stay back home, do their productions, manufacture whatever they are manufacturing, and bring them to the market. Make sales. Okay, so one is going to as well cut down on the cost of living in the center of the city. It's going to shed down on the cost of rent, all right, house rent in the various capital cities, perhaps in our Aba and Umuahia area today. So it's going to cut down on the high cost of renting apartments in those areas because they're going to be able to encourage people within the various hinterlands to stay back. Enjoy the electricity. Whatever you would have used the electricity to do in town there, do it down there in your various villages, in your communities. Get that done there. And if it is production, if after producing, then you bring it to where, people will even come there to come and buy. That was a wise man that rightly said some time ago that hospital is never far from the sick. So whenever you see people producing at anywhere, no matter how minute, no matter how hinterland the area is, then you see that off-takers will look for them and get to those areas and get them. And it is beautiful enough that Alex Otti today as well is a governor that has been working very beautifully well in the area of road infrastructure. So road is going to places, light, if get to those areas that road have been able to touch, then we're going to see a beautiful boom in the economy of Abia State more.
So if Abia State successfully detaches itself from the erratic national grid and achieves statewide energy independence, what specific lessons must the rest of the Southeast governors urgently learn from this model?
The lesson is that it's quite obvious. We shouldn't even wait until they will start giving testimonies. Hey, since we left national grid, we have been enjoying We shouldn't wait. Other parts of Southeast ought to have taken clue immediately and begin to talk about how to. It's on this same TV that I've been shouting, prior to now, and even some years ago, saying, let there be licenses given to other intended investors. Encourage other persons to come and invest in power sector in Nigeria, in Southeast, especially since 2022, that was 20th of July, 2022, when the law were being made, decentralizing electricity from the exclusive list of the executive, of the presidency. So I've been shouting, let there be licenses given to other companies. So that if we have, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies in Southeast who are generating and transmitting, distributing this electricity power or service to our people, the truth is that it's going to cut down on the tariff. So that's one of the benefits here. It's going to cut down on the tariff because there's going to be healthy competition. Then the government will now provide regulatory services, step by the side, and provide that referee services. Blow the whistle in between these persons, these players in the field. Then step by the side, let them do the business. We have an example in the area of telecommunication industry. Prior to now, it was Econet. And in fact, by the time MTN entered Nigeria, it was more like, how hell it was, to make a minute call as at then. But when once we began to have, competitors, we had Glo, we have Nine Mobile, and other ones that came into the system. And so you saw that the tariff crashed. But prior to the tariff crash, it was more like if you did not pay 100 naira per minute, the MTN is losing. But even now that we are paying 6 naira per minute, they're even ready to cut it down more to make sure that they keep you around them, patronizing them. So what we are saying in essence is that there is a whole lot of benefit in that. And so other parts of Southeast is expected to have copied that particular intention even before this stage and ought to have started negotiating before now to see the possibility of one, like in Enugu here, we have been expecting our governor to have started using our coal here, our coal deposit here, to begin to generate, to even distribute to every other part of Southeast. We'll have a regional electricity grid. I think that would have been a very beautiful one here. We'll have a regional electricity grid. Then we'll begin to generate using our coal. For goodness sake, we'll have uranium in Nigeria. Go to other parts of the world. They take our uranium in raw state and they go over there, they enrich them, begin to use them to generate power. But down here in Nigeria, we that owns those natural mineral resources, we are suffering the worst. That's terrible. So we expected that in Enugu, for instance, where we're based today, the governor ought to have, started, replicating that same template and begin to, effect it down here in Enugu. So that by the time Abia State is taking off, we ourselves, we take clue. We queue behind and take off as well. It's going to help. It's going to give us steady supply. It's quite terrible. It's quite embarrassing that just because of sign of rain and wind, and before you know what is happening, EEDC will shut down the entire gadget. And it will take like 2 days or 3. And without any excuse, without any apology, it will take like 2 days or 3. And so what we have seen there is that it is always as a result of monopoly. When there is no competition in the field, then the monopolist will always tend to do whatever he so wishes to do.
Thank you very much, sir. And that's the much that we can take on the Eastern Business Report. The Afia Business Morning returns on Monday. Many thanks for staying with us. My name is Cherry Ojukwu. Coming up next is Umuahia. Bye for now.